Your bank account is a mirror. It reflects something deeper than income. What if money doesn't flow to you, but through you? Most never discover the difference. Right now, invisible energy patterns are blocking your wealth. You can't see them, but you feel them every month. Why do some people attract money effortlessly while you struggle? The answer isn't strategy. It's frequency. 3 questions expose your money wound. Do you apologize for charging? Feel guilty when you receive? Believe others deserve wealth more than you? This audiobook will show you the energetic signature of wealth and how to rewrite yours in 90 days. You're about to learn what financial advisors won't tell you. Your energy creates your economy. Let me tell you about the day everything changed for me. I was sitting in my car outside a client meeting, staring at my bank account on my phone. $317. I had just pitched a project for $8,000. And somehow, even though the client said yes, I felt like I was taking something I didn't deserve. My chest was tight. My throat felt closed. I drove home in silence, wondering why I could never seem to break through this invisible ceiling. That night, I had a realization that split my life into before and after. The problem wasn't my marketing. It wasn't my skills. It wasn't the economy. The problem was the frequency I was broadcasting into the world every single day. I was a walking contradiction. I said I wanted wealth while my entire body screamed that I didn't deserve it. Everything you're about to learn in this audiobook came from that moment, from the recognition that money isn't just numbers in an account. It's energy. It's frequency. It's a mirror reflecting back exactly what you believe about yourself when no one's watching. And the most powerful part? Once you change the frequency, the numbers change automatically. Not through hustle, not through grinding, through alignment. We're going to start with something that might challenge everything you've been taught about money. You've been told that wealth comes from hard work, smart investments, and good decisions. And yes, those things matter, but they're not the foundation. They're the byproducts. The foundation is your energetic signature, the frequency you emit every moment of every day. This frequency is created by your beliefs, your emotions, your memories, and the stories you tell yourself about what you deserve. Right now, as you're listening to this, you have a money frequency. It's either attracting wealth or repelling it. There's no neutral. You're either expanding or contracting. And most people spend their entire lives contracting without even knowing it. Think about how you feel when you check your bank account. Is there a tightness in your chest? A slight panic? Or do you feel calm, open, expectant? Your answer reveals everything. The scarcity loop begins with a thought, usually something like, I don't have enough, or this won't work out. That thought creates an emotion, typically fear or anxiety. That emotion creates a physical sensation in your body, tension, shallow breathing, a clenched jaw, and that physical sensation broadcasts a frequency out into the world. The frequency says, I am lacking, I am insufficient, I am unsafe. And the universe, which is always listening, says, okay, here's more lack, here's more insufficiency, here's more situations that make you feel unsafe. This isn't mystical nonsense. This is physics. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, even your bank account. When you operate from scarcity, you emit a frequency that matches scarcity, and you attract circumstances that match that frequency. It's like tuning a radio. If you're dialed to the scarcity station, you can't receive the abundance broadcast. It's not that abundance isn't there. It's that you're not tuned to the right frequency to receive it. So what does abundance frequency feel like? Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your belly completely. Hold it for 3 counts. Now exhale slowly through your mouth, letting everything release. Do that 2 more times. Breathe in abundance, hold it. Breathe out scarcity. With each exhale, imagine releasing every tight, fearful, clenched thought about money. Now place your hand on your heart. Feel the warmth of your palm. Imagine that warmth spreading through your chest, down into your belly, out into your arms and legs. This warmth is abundance. It's openness. It's safety. It's the feeling that everything you need is already on its way to you. This is your natural state. Scarcity is learned. Abundance is your birthright. The mirror principle is simple but profound. Your external wealth is a direct reflection of your internal state. If your internal world is chaotic, fearful, and contracted, your external finances will mirror that chaos. If your internal world is calm, open, and expectant, your finances will reflect that too. Most people try to fix the external without ever looking at the internal. They change jobs, they start side hustles, they invest in courses, and nothing fundamentally shifts. Because the mirror hasn't changed. The reflection stays the same because the source stays the same. Let me tell you about Sarah. She came to me after losing her third job in 2 years. Each time, she'd been let go during budget cuts or restructuring. She couldn't understand why this kept happening to her. When we dug into her money story, she revealed that her father had been fired from multiple jobs throughout her childhood. She remembered the fear in her mother's voice, the arguments late at night, the way her father's shoulders slumped when he came home early that one devastating afternoon. Sarah had absorbed a core belief at 7 years old. Jobs aren't safe. Money disappears. You can lose everything at any moment. That belief was running her life 30 years later. Once she identified it, once she felt it in her body and released it, everything changed. Within 4 months, she landed a position with a $20,000 raise and a signing bonus. But more importantly, she felt safe for the first time in her adult life. The external circumstances shifted because the internal frequency transformed. Your money frequency is built from layers. At the bottom are your childhood experiences, the things you saw, heard and felt about money before you were 8 years old. These experiences created neural pathways, automatic responses that still fire today. On top of that layer are your family's inherited beliefs, the things your parents believed about money that they learned from their parents. These beliefs get passed down like genetic code, invisible but incredibly powerful. Then there's the cultural layer, the messages you absorb from your community, your religion, your socioeconomic background. And finally, there's your personal layer, your own experiences with money as an adult. All of these layers combine to create your current frequency, and that frequency is broadcasting 24 hours a day. Most people don't realize they're carrying their family's financial trauma in their nervous system. Your grandfather's fear during the Depression lives in your cells. Your mother's shame about asking for help lives in your throat. Your father's rage about never having enough lives in your chest. This is epigenetics. Science has proven that trauma and belief patterns pass through generations, affecting how our genes express themselves. You inherited more than your grandmother's eyes. You inherited her relationship with scarcity. You inherited her worthiness wounds, and until you consciously release these patterns, you'll keep recreating them. Think about the money fights you witnessed as a child. Can you remember where you were? What room you were in? How old you were? These memories are stored not just in your mind, but in your body. Your nervous system remembers the tension, the fear, the unpredictability. And now, as an adult, whenever money becomes uncertain, your nervous system activates that same fear response. You're not actually responding to your current situation. You're responding to a memory. Your 8-year-old self is running your financial life. That's why positive thinking alone doesn't work. You can't think your way out of a pattern that lives in your body. You have to release it somatically, through your body, not just your mind. There are 5 common money wounds that almost everyone carries to some degree. The first is unworthiness. This is the belief that you don't deserve wealth, that you're not good enough, smart enough, or valuable enough to be wealthy. The second is guilt. This is the feeling that having money makes you selfish or greedy, that wanting more means you're taking from others. The third is shame. This is the deep, often hidden belief that there's something wrong with you, that you're fundamentally flawed, and that's why money doesn't come easily. The fourth is fear. This manifests as anxiety about losing what you have, about not having enough, about the future being unsafe. And the fifth is rage. This is anger at the system, at wealthy people, at the unfairness of it all. Rage keeps you in poverty because it puts you in opposition to wealth. You can't attract what you resent. Here's what most people don't understand about clearing money blocks. You can't bypass them with affirmations. You can't think your way past them with positive mantras. Those things can help, but only after you've done the deeper work of actually feeling and releasing the wound. Spiritual bypassing is when you try to jump over your pain with positive thoughts. It doesn't work because the wound is still there, still broadcasting its frequency, still running your decisions. Real clearing involves feeling the feeling fully, letting it move through your body. Let's do some excavation work right now. Think about your earliest memory of money. Don't analyze it, just let it come up. What's the first scene that appears? Maybe you're in a store and your parents said no to something you wanted. Maybe you're watching your mother cry over bills at the kitchen table. Maybe you're hearing your father say, "We can't afford that." Whatever the memory is, notice it without judgment. Now notice what you decided in that moment. Did you decide that money is scarce, that wanting things is bad, that you're a burden, that you have to be careful, that rich people are different from you? That decision you made as a child is still operating today. It's the lens through which you see every financial situation. And until you name it, feel it, and release it, it will continue to run your life. Now let's talk about the receiving wound. This might be the most common and most invisible money block that exists. It's the pattern of deflecting, minimizing, or rejecting money when it tries to come to you. And most people don't even realize they're doing it. Have you ever received a compliment and immediately deflected it? Oh, this old thing? Or, it was nothing really. Have you ever been offered help and said, no, I'm fine, even when you weren't? Have you ever charged less than you wanted to because you felt uncomfortable asking for the full amount? All of these behaviors are symptoms of the receiving wound. You literally cannot let wealth in because your system is wired to reject it. The receiving wound starts with worthiness. On some level, you don't believe you deserve to receive. Maybe you were taught that it's better to give than to receive. Maybe you were praised for being self-sufficient and independent. Maybe you learned that needing help meant you were weak. Maybe you saw someone in your family receive something and then have it taken away, so you learned that receiving isn't safe. Whatever the origin, the result is the same. You've developed an unconscious pattern of pushing away the very thing you say you want. Money tries to come to you and you deflect it. Opportunities try to land in your lap and you talk yourself out of them. People try to pay you what you're worth and you discount your rates. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a woman named Lisa. She's a talented graphic designer. A potential client emails asking about her rates for a rebrand project. Lisa looks at her usual rate, $5,000, and immediately feels a wave of discomfort. Her chest tightens. Her mind starts spinning. That's too much. She'll never pay that. I should offer a discount. Maybe $3,500. That feels better. So Lisa replies with the discounted rate. The client responds immediately. Perfect. Let's move forward. And Lisa feels relief mixed with a strange emptiness. She just lost $1,500 because she couldn't hold the frequency of receiving her full value. This happens thousands of times throughout a lifetime. Death by 1,000 discounts. And it's not about the strategy of pricing. It's about the energetic ability to receive without flinching. The receiving wound shows up in your body. When someone offers you something, money, help, a compliment, a gift, notice what happens physically. Does your chest contract? Does your throat tighten? Do you feel a slight panic? That physical response is your nervous system saying, this isn't safe. We need to reject this. Your nervous system is trying to protect you based on old data. It remembers a time when receiving led to pain. Maybe you received attention and then it turned into criticism. Maybe you received a gift and then it was used as leverage. Maybe you received love and then it was withdrawn. So now your system has learned that receiving equals danger. And until you retrain your nervous system, you'll keep pushing away wealth. There's also a difference between masculine and feminine receiving wounds. The masculine wound shows up as overachieving and overgiving. It's the belief that you have to earn everything through sheer effort and productivity. Rest feels like failure. Receiving feels like weakness. You can only take what you've worked for, and even then you feel guilty. The feminine wound shows up as unworthiness and guilt. It's the belief that you're too much or not enough, that your needs are burdensome, that wanting more is selfish. Both wounds block receiving, but they feel different in the body. The masculine wound creates exhaustion and burnout. The feminine wound creates collapse and resentment, and most people have some combination of both. Here's a practice that will change your life if you commit to it. For the next 7 days, every time someone gives you anything, a compliment, a favor, a payment, a gift, practice receiving it fully. Don't deflect. Don't minimize. Don't immediately reciprocate. Just receive. Let it land in your body. Feel what it's like to take up space, to be worthy of receiving, to accept that someone values you enough to give you something. This will feel excruciating at first. Your system will panic. You'll want to make a joke, to deflect, to immediately give something back. Don't. Just breathe. Say thank you. Let it be. This is how you retrain your nervous system to believe that receiving is safe. Now we need to talk about value and how most people completely misunderstand it. You've been taught that value is about what you do, how hard you work, how many hours you put in, how much effort you expend. But that's not value. That's labor. Value is about the transformation you create for someone else. It's about the problem you solve, the result you deliver, the gap you bridge. And here's the part that will blow your mind. The things that feel easiest to you are often the most valuable to others. The things that come so naturally that you assume everyone can do them. Those are your zone of genius. And your zone of genius has a price tag. Most people undercharge because they conflate effort with value. They think, this only took me an hour, so I can't charge much for it. But that hour is the result of years of skill development. That ease is what makes it valuable. Someone else would take 10 hours to do what you do in one. They'd do it poorly. They'd struggle. You make it look easy. That's the value. You're not charging for time. You're charging for transformation. You're charging for the years of mastery that allow you to create that transformation quickly. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop counting hours and start naming results. There's something I call the service trap, and it's destroying people's financial lives. The service trap is when you mistake martyrdom for generosity. It's when you give and give and give until you're depleted, resentful, and broke, and then you tell yourself that this makes you a good person. It doesn't. It makes you a bankrupt person who can't help anyone because you're empty. Real service requires overflow. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you undercharge, when you overdeliver, when you say yes when you mean no, you're not serving. You're self-abandoning. And the energy of self-abandonment repels wealth, because wealth requires that you value yourself enough to honor your worth. Let me tell you about David. He's a business consultant. Brilliant mind, incredible track record. His clients consistently double their revenue within 6 months of working with him. But he was charging $3,000 for a 3-month engagement. We calculated the value he was creating. His average client gained $150,000 in additional revenue. He was capturing 2% of the value he created. When I asked him why he charged so little, he said, "I just want to help people. I don't want to be greedy." This is the service trap. He was undervaluing his gift in the name of generosity. But here's what happened. He was exhausted. He resented his clients. He was struggling to pay his bills. And he couldn't help as many people as he wanted to because he had to take on so many clients just to survive. Once he raised his rates to $15,000, everything changed. He had fewer clients but made more money. He had more energy. He delivered better results. And he felt aligned for the first time in his career. Charging appropriately isn't greedy. It's sustainable. Your zone of genius is the intersection of what you're brilliant at, what lights you up, and what creates value for others. Most people never operate in their zone of genius because they assume it's not valuable. They think, if it's easy for me, it must be easy for everyone. Wrong. What's easy for you is your gift. It's your unique frequency. It's the thing you came here to offer. And when you try to commoditize it or minimize it or give it away, you're essentially rejecting your own value. You're saying to the universe, my gifts don't matter. I don't matter. And the universe says, okay, here's a financial reality that matches that belief. Take a moment and ask yourself this. What do people always come to you for? What questions do they ask? What problems do they bring? What do you do that makes people say, wow, how did you do that? That's your value. That's what you should be charging for. And not charging a little bit, charging what the transformation is actually worth. If you save someone $10,000 in wasted time or resources, your service is worth at least $2,000 to $3,000. If you help someone make $50,000, your service is worth at least $10,000. Value-based pricing isn't about time, it's about outcomes. And when you price based on the outcome you create, you finally start to receive in proportion to what you give. Now let's talk about circulation, because this is where most people completely block their wealth. They finally start making money and then they hoard it. They grip it. But there's a gap most people experience. I call it the embodiment gap. It's the space between what you say you want and how you actually behave. You say you want wealth, but you act broke. You say you want abundance, but you speak in scarcity. You affirm prosperity, but you make decisions from fear. This gap is why affirmations don't work for most people. They're affirming one thing while embodying another. And the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your frequency, your embodiment, your actual energetic state. So if you want to change your financial reality, you have to close the embodiment gap. You have to start being the wealthy person before the bank account reflects it. Here's what this looks like practically. Your wealthy future self invests in themselves. They don't wait until they can afford it. They find a way because they know that investment creates return. So you start investing in yourself now. Maybe it's a course. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe it's a mastermind. Your wealthy future self dresses well. Not expensively necessarily, but intentionally. They care about how they present themselves. So you start caring now. You don't wait until you're wealthy to buy clothes that make you feel confident. Your wealthy future self surrounds themselves with other wealthy-minded people. So you start seeking those relationships now. You don't wait until you're successful to network with successful people. You become who you're becoming right now, and the external circumstances reorganize themselves to match. There's something that happens when you make what I call a future self purchase. This is when you buy something that your current self feels is a stretch, but your future self would buy without thinking twice. Maybe it's the more expensive hotel room. Maybe it's the business class flight. Maybe it's the high-quality version of something instead of the cheap version. When you make this purchase, you're sending a message to the universe. You're saying, I'm already that person. I'm already operating at that level. And your nervous system starts to recalibrate. You start to feel what it's like to be someone who makes decisions from abundance instead of scarcity. This doesn't mean going into debt or being irresponsible. It means making strategic choices that align you with your future identity. Let's talk about perception, because this is the mechanism through which opportunities either appear or stay invisible. Your brain has a filter called the reticular activating system. The RAS is the part of your brain that determines what information gets through to your conscious awareness and what gets filtered out. Every second, your brain receives millions of bits of sensory information. If you consciously processed all of it, you'd be overwhelmed and incapacitated. So your RAS filters. It decides what's important based on your beliefs, your values, and your current focus. And here's the critical part. Your RAS shows you what you expect to see. If you expect scarcity, you see scarcity. If you expect opportunity, you see opportunity. It's not that one reality is true and the other isn't. It's that both exist simultaneously, and you only perceive what you're tuned to notice. This is why two people can walk through the exact same day and have completely different experiences. One person sees problems everywhere. Traffic is terrible. Their coffee order is wrong. Their coworker is annoying. The project is too hard. Everything confirms their belief that life is difficult. Another person walks through the same day and sees opportunities everywhere. Traffic is light, so they make it early. The coffee shop has their favorite pastry. Their coworker shares a great idea. The project is challenging in an exciting way. Everything confirms their belief that life is abundant. Same day, different perception, different reality. Your abundance antenna is your RAS tuned to notice wealth, opportunity, and possibility. When your antenna is calibrated correctly, you start seeing things you missed before. You notice the conversation that leads to a new client. You see the job posting that's perfect for you. You recognize the investment opportunity that others overlook. You perceive the synchronicities that are always happening. This isn't luck. Luck is what people call it when they don't understand frequency and perception. What looks like luck is actually attunement. It's having your antenna tuned to the frequency of opportunity. So how do you calibrate your antenna? You train it. Every day you practice noticing abundance. You look for evidence that money is everywhere, that opportunities are constant, that the universe is generous. This isn't denial of problems. It's a choice about where to place your attention. Because wherever you place your attention grows. If you focus on what's lacking, you'll find more lack. If you focus on what's abundant, you'll find more abundance. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. Your brain creates more of what you focus on. Here's a practice that will rewire your brain faster than anything else. For the next 21 days, keep an evidence journal. Every single day, write down 3 pieces of evidence that abundance is real and available to you. Maybe you found a parking spot right away. Maybe someone bought you coffee. Maybe you got a refund you forgot about. Maybe you saw a beautiful sunset that didn't cost anything. The size of the evidence doesn't matter. What matters is that you're training your brain to notice abundance. At first, this will feel forced. Your brain will resist. It will want to focus on problems. Keep going. By day 7, you'll start to notice a shift. By day 14, you'll be amazed at how much abundance you were missing. By day 21, your antenna will be recalibrated. You'll perceive a different reality because your frequency has changed. There's also the power of reframing. Every problem contains an opportunity. Every challenge contains a gift. Every loss contains a lesson. But you have to train yourself to look for it. Most people never do. They experience something difficult, and they immediately contract into victimhood. Why is this happening to me? This is so unfair. I can't believe this is my life. That frequency attracts more victimhood. But you can choose differently. You can ask, what if this is happening for me? What if there's an opportunity here that I can't see yet? What if this challenge is actually redirecting me towards something better? That simple reframe changes everything. It moves you from contraction to curiosity, from victimhood to agency, and that shift in frequency opens up possibilities that weren't available before. Now let's talk about your environment, because most people completely underestimate how much their surroundings are programming them. You are constantly absorbing information from your environment, the state of your home, the organization of your workspace, the content you consume, the people you interact with. All of it is either reinforcing your wealth frequency or degrading it. Your environment is not neutral. It's either supporting your expansion or contributing to your contraction. And if you want to change your financial reality, you have to optimize your environment for wealth. Walk into your home right now in your mind. What do you see? Is there clutter? Are there broken things you've been meaning to fix? Are there bills piled up on the counter? Old statements you haven't filed? A wallet full of crumpled receipts? All of these things are poverty cues. They broadcast a frequency of chaos, neglect, and scarcity. And every time you see them, your nervous system registers. We're not doing well. We're overwhelmed. We're not in control. This keeps you in a contracted state. And from a contracted state, you can't attract wealth. You can only perpetuate more of what you already have. Wealth cues are different. They're the things that make you feel abundant when you see them. Fresh flowers, clean counters, organized spaces, quality items that you love, art that inspires you, a wallet with bills facing the same direction, a desk that's clear and inviting. These things signal to your nervous system, we're doing well, we're taken care of, we have space and beauty in our life. And from that expanded state, you make different decisions. You show up differently. You attract different opportunities. I want you to do something this week. Choose one space in your home and make it a wealth sanctuary. It could be your bedroom, your office, even just your desk. Clear everything out. Get rid of anything broken, anything you don't love, anything that feels heavy. Clean it deeply. Then add only things that make you feel wealthy. Maybe it's a plant. Maybe it's a candle. Maybe it's a piece of art. Maybe it's just emptiness and clean surfaces. When you enter this space, you should feel expansion. You should feel like a wealthy person lives here, and then spend time in that space every day. Let your nervous system recalibrate to this new frequency. Let your body remember what abundance feels like. Your digital environment matters just as much as your physical environment. Open your email inbox. How many unread messages do you have? Thousands? That's a poverty cue. It signals overwhelm and lack of control. Open your computer desktop. Is it covered in files? Same thing. Look at your social media feed. Who are you following? Are they inspiring you or draining you? Are they expanding your vision of what's possible or confirming your limitations? Your digital spaces hold frequency just like your physical spaces. And if they're chaotic or negative, they're keeping you in a low frequency state. Then there are the people in your environment. This is the most important and most difficult piece. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't a metaphor, it's energetics. You absorb the frequencies of the people around you. I want to pause here and talk about intuition, because this is the language your body uses to guide you toward wealth. Your body knows before your mind knows. It has access to information that your conscious mind doesn't. When you're making a decision, especially a financial decision, your body will give you signals: expansion or contraction, openness or closure, ease or tension. Most people override these signals. They let their mind talk them out of what their body already knows. And this is why they end up in situations that feel wrong, that don't work out, that drain their energy. Expansion feels like an opening in your chest, like you can breathe more deeply, like there's space and possibility, like a quiet yes that doesn't need to be justified. Contraction feels like tightness, like your throat closes or your stomach clenches, like you need to force yourself forward, Like you're trying to convince yourself it's right. Fear and intuition can feel similar at first, but there's a key difference. Fear is chaotic and loud. It spins stories. It creates worst-case scenarios. It makes you feel like you need to control everything. Intuition is calm and quiet. It doesn't need to explain itself. It's just a knowing, a gentle signal that says yes or not now. The problem is that most people have been conditioned to ignore their intuition, to override their body's wisdom, to push through discomfort, to do what makes sense logically, even when everything inside them is screaming no. And this is especially true with money. People take jobs that feel wrong because the salary is good. They invest in opportunities that feel off because they're afraid of missing out. They say yes to clients who give them a bad feeling because they need the money. And every single time, it costs them. Not just financially, but energetically. Because every time you override your intuition, you disconnect from your internal guidance system. You train yourself not to trust the very mechanism that's designed to keep you aligned. So let's practice right now. Bring to mind a financial decision you're currently facing. It could be big or small. Should you take that job? Should you invest in that course? Should you raise your rates? Should you hire help? Now close your eyes and bring that decision into your body. Don't think about it. Feel it. Notice what happens in your chest, in your throat, in your belly. Does the decision create expansion or contraction? Does it feel like a yes or a not now? Don't judge the answer. Don't try to make it mean something. Just notice. Your body already knows. The question is whether you're willing to listen. Here's what I've learned about courageous yeses. The decisions that change your life are almost always the ones that scare you a little. Not terrify you, not make you feel reckless, but make you feel a combination of excitement and nervousness. That combination is your signal that you're at your edge, that you're about to expand beyond your current capacity. And that's exactly where transformation happens. If a decision feels completely safe and comfortable, it's probably not going to create significant change. It's probably just more of what you already have. But if a decision makes you feel alive and slightly uncertain, that's often your intuition saying, this is your next level. The key is learning to distinguish between the fear that's protecting you and the fear that's limiting you. Protective fear is when your intuition says, this person is unsafe. This opportunity is not aligned. This will drain you. That fear is wisdom. Listen to it. Limiting fear is when your conditioning says, you're not ready. You're not qualified. What will people think? You might fail. That fear is just your ego trying to keep you small and safe. Thank it for trying to protect you, and then move forward anyway. The way you know the difference. Protective fear creates contraction in your body. Limiting fear creates contraction in your mind. Protective fear makes the opportunity feel wrong. Limiting fear makes you feel wrong. Now we need to talk about overflow because this is the secret that nobody tells you. You cannot create sustainable wealth from depletion. You cannot hustle your way to abundance. You cannot grind yourself into prosperity because wealth is not created from emptiness. It's created from fullness, from overflow. From a state of being so resourced, so rested, so nourished, that ideas and opportunities flow through you naturally. Most people have this exactly backwards. They think they need to work harder, push more, sacrifice everything, and then maybe someday they'll get to rest. But that's the poverty model. The wealth model is completely different. The wealth model says rest first, fill your cup first, operate from surplus first, and then watch what you create from that overflow. Think about when you have your best ideas. Is it when you're stressed and pushing and forcing? No, it's in the shower, on a walk, right before you fall asleep, in the space between activities. Your best ideas, your most creative solutions, your biggest breakthroughs, they all come from a state of relaxation, from a state of overflow, because that's when your nervous system is calm enough to receive inspiration. That's when you're open enough to perceive possibilities. That's when the frequency is right for wealth to flow through you. But if you're constantly depleted, constantly running on empty, constantly in survival mode, you shut down that channel. You can't receive what's trying to come through. This is especially important for women. though it applies to anyone with a strong feminine energy. The feminine creates from being, not doing. The feminine generates from receptivity, from rest, from pleasure, from space. But we live in a world that values masculine energy, doing, pushing, achieving, producing. And so people, especially women, try to create wealth the masculine way. They hustle, they grind, they fill every moment with productivity. And they burn out, because that's not their natural creative frequency. The feminine way of creating wealth is to rest deeply, to fill yourself with beauty and pleasure, to create space for inspiration, and to act only from overflow. When you do this, you create more with less effort. You generate wealth that feels aligned and sustainable. You build something that doesn't require you to sacrifice yourself. But even if you're more masculine in your energy, overflow still matters, because depletion creates scarcity frequency. When you're exhausted, when you're running on fumes, when you're resentful and overwhelmed, you broadcast a frequency that says, I don't have enough, there's not enough time, there's not enough energy, there's not enough me. And the universe matches that frequency. It gives you more situations where there's not enough, more demands on your time, more energy drains, more overwhelm. The only way out is to stop, to rest, to refill, to create overflow. And from that overflow, everything changes. Here's what I want you to do. Look at your schedule for this week. Where can you create space? Not for productivity, not for catching up, just space. Empty space. Time to do nothing. Time to be instead of do. I know this feels impossible. I know your mind is already listing all the reasons why you can't. But that resistance is exactly why you need to. Your nervous system needs space to regulate. Your creativity needs space to emerge. Your intuition needs space to speak. And your wealth frequency needs space to recalibrate from scarcity to abundance. So find 1 hour this week. Put it on your calendar. Protect it like it's the most important meeting you have. Because it is. It's a meeting with your overflow, with your future wealth, with the version of you who creates from fullness instead of emptiness. Let me tell you about pleasure, because this is the most underrated wealth practice that exists. Pleasure is not frivolous. It's not selfish. It's not a waste of time. Pleasure is the frequency of abundance. When you allow yourself to experience pleasure, when you give yourself things that feel good for no reason other than they feel good, you broadcast a frequency that says, I am abundant, I am worthy, I deserve good things. And that frequency attracts more good things, more opportunities, more money, more ease, because you're no longer in the frequency of deprivation and striving. You're in the frequency of having and receiving. Most people only allow themselves pleasure after they've earned it, after they've worked hard enough, after they've achieved something, after they've proven their worth. But this is backwards. Pleasure first creates the frequency that allows achievement to flow. Think about it. When you feel good, when you're relaxed and joyful and appreciative, what kind of ideas do you have? What kind of energy do you bring to your work? What kind of opportunities do you notice? Everything is better. Everything flows. But when you're deprived and resentful and white-knuckling your way through life, everything is harder. You're closed off. You're contracted. You're in survival mode. And from survival mode, you can only create survival-level results. So start giving yourself pleasure for no reason. Buy the expensive coffee just because it tastes better. Take the afternoon off just because the weather is beautiful. Get the massage even though you didn't earn it. Wear the nice clothes even though you're just working from home. Light the candle. Play the music. Dance in your kitchen. These small acts of pleasure are not indulgent. They're strategic. They're recalibrating your frequency from scarcity to abundance. They're training your nervous system that good things are allowed, that you're worthy of feeling good. That pleasure is available to you. And the more you practice this, the more your external reality begins to match this internal state. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, try saying, I'm choosing to invest my resources elsewhere right now. Do you feel the difference? One statement is about lack. The other is about choice and agency. Instead of saying, I'm broke, try saying, I'm in a transition phase financially. Instead of saying, money is so hard, try saying, I'm learning to create wealth in alignment with my values. These phrases aren't fake positivity. They're reframes that shift your frequency from victimhood to agency, from powerlessness to possibility. And that shift changes everything. For the next 30 days, I want you to become aware of every single thing you say about money. Catch yourself. Notice the automatic phrases, the complaints, the limitations, and then consciously choose different words. This will feel awkward at first. You'll sound weird to yourself, but stick with it. Because your words are spells. They're literally casting the reality you experience. And if you want to change your reality, you have to change your language first. Let's talk about what wealth actually looks like in daily life, because most people have a completely distorted image of what it means to be wealthy. They think it means private jets and mansions and luxury cars. And for some people, maybe it does. But for most wealthy people, wealth looks much more ordinary than you'd think. Wealth is having enough in your bank account that you don't check it with anxiety. Wealth is being able to take a day off without financial panic. Wealth is saying yes to opportunities without having to calculate whether you can afford them. Wealth is buying the organic groceries without looking at the price. Wealth is sleeping soundly at night because you're not worried about next month's rent. Wealth is freedom. It's space. It's ease. It's the absence of financial stress. And here's what's beautiful. You can start embodying that ease right now. You don't have to wait until you have $1 million. You can start making decisions like a wealthy person today. How would a wealthy person start their day? Probably not by immediately checking email and reacting to everyone else's needs. Probably with some kind of intentional practice. Maybe meditation, maybe movement. Maybe just sitting with coffee and appreciating the morning. How would a wealthy person structure their day? Probably not by filling every moment with tasks and meetings. Probably with spaciousness, with time for creativity, with time for rest. How would a wealthy person treat themselves? Probably with respect, with kindness, with the understanding that they're valuable and worthy of care. You can do all of this right now. You can structure your day like a wealthy person. You can speak like a wealthy person. You can make space like a wealthy person. You can invest in yourself like a wealthy person. And when you do this consistently, when you embody wealth before it arrives, the external circumstances have no choice but to reorganize themselves to match. Because you're broadcasting a different frequency, you're showing the universe a different version of you, and the universe always matches your frequency. Think about someone you know who seems to always land on their feet, who always seems to have opportunities falling in their lap, who makes money look easy. What are they doing differently? I promise you it's not strategy, it's not connections, it's not luck, it's frequency. They're operating from a place of trust and ease. They expect good things to happen. They move through the world like someone who's taken care of. And because they embody that frequency, they create that reality. You can do the same thing. Starting right now, let's do a practice together. Take a slow breath in through your nose for a count of 4. Hold it for 4. Release it through your mouth for a count of 6. Do this 3 more times. With each exhale, imagine releasing any tightness, any fear, any belief that you're not enough. Now place both hands on your heart. Feel the warmth of your hands, the beating of your heart. This is your life force. This is your power. You are alive. You are here. You are inherently valuable just by existing. Now I want you to say this, out loud if you can, or internally if you need to. I am becoming someone who creates wealth with ease. I am becoming someone who trusts that everything I need comes to me. I am becoming someone who receives without guilt. I am becoming someone who values my gifts. I am becoming someone who operates from overflow. Notice how that feels in your body. Notice if there's any resistance. That resistance is just old programming. Thank it and let it go. You're rewiring now. You're becoming new. Integration is where all of this comes together. You can have insights. You can have breakthroughs. You can understand these principles intellectually, but none of it matters unless you integrate it into your daily life. Integration is repetition. It's practice. It's showing up every single day and choosing the new frequency over the old pattern. It's catching yourself in scarcity thinking and consciously shifting. It's noticing when you're about to undercharge and choosing to honor your value instead. It's feeling the urge to deflect a compliment and choosing to receive it fully. Integration is the difference between knowing and being. Most people consume endless information, but never change because they never integrate. They listen to podcasts. They read books. They take courses. And then they go back to their life and do everything exactly the same. The information sits on the surface. It never roots down into behavior, into embodiment, into nervous system. Real transformation requires that you take what you've learned and practice it until it becomes automatic, until it becomes who you are, until you don't have to think about it anymore, because it's just how you move through the world. So here's what integration looks like practically. Every morning you do a frequency practice. It doesn't have to be long. 10 minutes is enough. You might meditate. You might journal. You might do breath work. You might dance. Whatever helps you connect to your body and set your frequency for the day. During this practice, you consciously choose abundance over scarcity. You remind yourself of who you're becoming. You feel into the frequency of your future self. This sets the tone for everything that follows. Throughout your day, you practice awareness. You notice your thoughts about money. You notice your language. You notice your body's responses. You notice when you're contracting and when you're expanding. And when you catch yourself in old patterns, you pause. You breathe. You choose differently. This is the practice. This is how you rewire. Not through huge dramatic changes, but through thousands of small conscious choices. Each time you catch yourself and choose differently, you're strengthening new neural pathways. You're teaching your nervous system that the new way is safe. You're proving to yourself that you can change. At the end of each day, you track evidence. You write down 3 things that happen that show you your frequency is shifting. Maybe you had a money conversation without anxiety. Maybe you received a compliment gracefully. Maybe an unexpected opportunity appeared. Maybe you noticed abundance where you usually see scarcity. This evidence journal is crucial because your brain needs proof that the new way works. Without proof, your brain will pull you back to old patterns because old patterns feel safe. They're known. So you have to show your brain that the new patterns are working, that they're creating real results. And over time, your brain will start to trust the new way more than the old way. Every week, you do an energy audit. You look at where your energy went. What drained you? What filled you? Who did you spend time with? What environments were you in? What did you consume? And then you make adjustments. You protect your energy more fiercely. You say no to things that drain you. You say yes to things that fill you. You optimize your environment. You curate your relationships. You guard your frequency like it's the most valuable thing you have. Because it is. Your frequency is everything. It's the foundation of your financial reality. And if you let it get polluted by energy drains, you'll struggle no matter what strategies you implement. Once a month, you check in with your future self. You do the visualization practice again. You step into the version of you that's already wealthy. And you ask, how am I doing? What do I need to adjust? What's my next level move? This keeps you connected to your North Star. It keeps you aligned with where you're going instead of getting lost in where you are. Because where you are is always lagging behind your frequency. Your current circumstances are the result of your past frequency. Your future circumstances are being created by your current frequency. So you have to keep your eyes on the future version while you patiently embody the frequency that will create it. I want to tell you about what happens in the nervous system during transformation, because this is where most people get stuck. Your nervous system is designed to keep you safe. And to your nervous system, safe means familiar. Even if familiar is painful, even if familiar is limiting, your nervous system doesn't care if you're happy or successful. It only cares if you're alive. And alive means doing what you've always done because you've survived doing it. So when you start to change, when you start operating from a new frequency, your nervous system panics. It sends alarm signals. It creates discomfort. It tries to pull you back to what's known. This is what people experience as resistance. Resistance isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're doing something new. Your nervous system is literally freaking out because you're stepping outside. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. It's not about having one massive breakthrough. It's about showing up every day and proving to your nervous system that the new frequency is safe, that you're not going to die if you charge your worth, that you're not going to be abandoned if you receive fully, that you're not going to be punished if you become wealthy. Your nervous system needs evidence, and you provide that evidence through repetition, through doing the thing that scares you and surviving, through making the new choice and noticing that you're okay, through embodying the new frequency and watching opportunities appear. Each time you do this, you're building trust with your nervous system. You're showing it that expansion is possible. And over time, expansion becomes your new normal. Let me share something vulnerable with you. There was a moment in my journey where I almost quit. I had been doing this work for months. I had raised my rates. I had cleaned up my environment. I had practiced receiving. I had done all the things. And my bank account looked exactly the same. Nothing had changed externally. And I remember thinking, this is all nonsense. Frequency doesn't matter. I'm just fooling myself. I was so close to giving up, to going back to the old way, to accepting that this was just my lot in life. But something in me said, give it one more month, just one more. So I did. And in that month, everything shifted. 3 new clients reached out. An old client paid an invoice I'd written off. I got a refund I wasn't expecting. And my income tripled what it had been the previous month. Here's what I learned. There's always a lag time between frequency shift and external manifestation. Always. You change internally first. You embody the new frequency. You practice the new way. And for a while, nothing seems to change externally. This is the gap that tests you. This is where most people quit. They think it's not working because they're not seeing results. But the results are building. They're gestating. They're organizing in the invisible realm. And if you quit right before the breakthrough, you'll never know how close you were. So you have to trust the process. You have to stay with the practice even when you can't see evidence yet. Because the evidence always comes. It's a law. Frequency creates reality. It's just not always on your timeline. Now let's talk about what to do when money actually starts flowing in. Because this is where a lot of people self-sabotage. They've done all this work to change their frequency, to become someone who attracts wealth. And then when wealth starts coming, they freak out. They hit what's called an upper limit. This is the amount of money or success that feels safe to your nervous system. When you exceed it, your system panics and unconsciously creates problems to bring you back down to the familiar level. Maybe you suddenly have an emergency expense. Maybe you make a bad business decision. Maybe you get sick. Maybe you sabotage a relationship. Your system is trying to return you to homeostasis, to what feels normal. The way through this is awareness and compassion. When you notice yourself hitting an upper limit, don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Just notice. Say, oh, there it is. I'm at my edge. My system thinks this much success is dangerous. And then breathe. Stay with the discomfort. Let yourself expand to hold this new level. This is literally an expansion of your nervous system's capacity, like stretching a muscle. It's uncomfortable, but that's how growth happens. And each time you successfully integrate a new level of wealth without sabotaging, you raise your upper limit. You prove to your system that this new level is safe. And then you can expand to the next level. You also have to learn how to be with wealth, how to manage it, how to steward it. This is energetic, not just practical. When money comes in, don't immediately spend it all to relieve the discomfort of having it. Sit with it. Let yourself feel what it's like to have money in your account, to have a cushion, to have options. This might create anxiety at first. Your system might tell you that it's not safe to have money, that it will be taken away, that you don't deserve to keep it. Breathe through those thoughts. They're just old programming. Thank them for trying to protect you, and then choose the new belief. I am safe having money. I am worthy of keeping wealth. I am capable of managing abundance. Then make conscious decisions about where the money goes. Don't let it just disappear into unconscious spending. Decide how much you're going to save, how much you're going to invest, how much you're going to give, how much you're going to use for necessities, how much you're going to use for pleasure. This conscious relationship with money is part of your wealth frequency. Wealthy people are intentional with their resources. They don't squander. They don't hoard. They steward. They make conscious choices that align with their values and their vision. And you can do the same, regardless of the amount. Whether you have $100 or $100,000, the practice is the same. Conscious stewardship. I want to address something that comes up for a lot of people. The question of whether focusing on wealth is shallow or materialistic. Whether spiritual people should care about money. And here's my answer. Money is neutral. It's energy. It's a tool. What matters is your relationship with it and what you do with it. If you're pursuing wealth from a place of ego, from a need to prove something or fill a void, then yes, that's misaligned. But if you're pursuing wealth from a place of wanting to create impact, to support your family, to have freedom, to contribute to causes you care about, to live in alignment with your values, then wealth is spiritual. It's an expression of your service. It's a resource that amplifies your gifts. The idea that spiritual people should be poor is one of the most damaging beliefs in our culture. It's kept countless gifted healers, teachers, artists, and visionaries playing small and struggling financially. And meanwhile, people who don't care about consciousness or contribution have all the resources. That's backwards. The people who are most committed to making a positive difference should have the most resources, should have the wealth to create change, should have the freedom to focus on their work instead of constantly worrying about survival. So if you've been holding the belief that wanting wealth makes you less spiritual, I want you to release it right now. Wealth in the hands of conscious people is one of the most powerful forces for good in the world. Let me also say this. Your wealth helps other people step into their wealth. When you become someone who charges their worth, who receives fully, who operates from abundance, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. You model what's possible. You break the collective pattern of struggle and scarcity, and that ripple effect is immeasurable. Every person you inspire to value themselves, to charge appropriately, to believe in their worthiness, goes on to inspire others. You're not just changing your financial reality, you're participating in a collective frequency shift. And that's sacred work. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was a web developer who'd been freelancing for 8 years, always charging around $50 an hour. When I met him, he was exhausted, working 60-hour weeks just to make ends meet. His wife had just had their second child and they were drowning. The interesting thing was that Marcus was exceptionally talented. His clients loved him. They referred him constantly, but he was stuck in a scarcity loop he couldn't see. We worked together for 3 months, and during that time, he didn't learn a single new technical skill. He didn't change his marketing. He didn't get new certifications. All he did was change his frequency. He cleared his worthiness wounds. He practiced receiving. He raised his rates to $150 an hour, and then to $200. Within 6 months, he was making triple what he'd made the previous year while working half the hours. His words to me were, "I can't believe I spent 8 years suffering when the only thing I needed to change was how I saw myself." That's the power of frequency work. Marcus didn't need more skills. He needed to value the skills he had. He didn't need more clients. He needed to charge the clients he had appropriately. He didn't need to work harder. He needed to shift his internal state from scarcity to worthiness. And once he did that, everything external reorganized to match. This is what's available to you. Not someday, not after you get another degree or certification or level of experience. Right now, the moment you decide that your frequency matters more than your circumstances. Now I want to talk about what happens when you start to shift and the people around you don't. This is one of the most challenging parts of transformation. You're changing, you're expanding, you're operating from a new frequency, and the people in your life are still operating from the old one. They're still complaining about money, they're still making excuses, they're still playing small, and suddenly you don't fit anymore. Your old conversations feel draining. Your old patterns feel suffocating. This is normal. This is part of the process, but it's also where a lot of people get stuck because they're afraid of outgrowing their people. Here's what I want you to understand. Real relationships evolve with you. Real friends celebrate your growth. Real family wants you to thrive. If the people around you feel threatened by your expansion, if they try to pull you back down, if they mock your new practices or belittle your goals, those aren't your people, or at least they're not your people right now. You can love. You might need to do the same, not with anger or resentment, just with clarity and self-love. Some people are lifetime relationships. Some people are season relationships, and some people are reason relationships. They came into your life for a specific reason. You learned what you needed to learn, and now it's complete. Honoring that completion is part of your wealth work, because you cannot maintain an abundance frequency while surrounding yourself with scarcity-minded people. It's energetically impossible. So you have to choose, and choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. Now let's get very practical. I'm going to walk you through exactly what your 90-day transformation looks like. Not in theory, in practice. Day by day, week by week, what to expect, what to do when you hit resistance, how to stay on track when your old patterns try to pull you back. This is your roadmap, your survival guide, your relapse prevention plan. Because here's what nobody tells you about transformation. It's not linear. You don't just steadily improve. You'll have breakthroughs, then you'll have breakdowns. You'll have days where you feel invincible, then days where you question everything. That's normal. That's how nervous system reprogramming works. And if you don't know that's coming, you'll think you're failing when actually you're just integrating. Week 1 is about awareness. You're not trying to change anything yet. You're just noticing. Notice every thought you have about money. Notice every feeling that comes up when you check your bank account. Notice the language you use. Notice how your body responds to financial conversations. Notice your patterns. Do you avoid looking at your finances? Do you obsessively check your balance? Do you feel shame, fear, resentment? Just notice without judgment. This is data collection. You're mapping your current frequency so you know what needs to shift. At the end of each day, write down 3 observations about your money frequency. Just observations. No self-criticism, no fixing. Just noticing. During week 1, you might feel worse before you feel better, because now you're aware of patterns that were running unconsciously. It's like turning on the lights in a dark room and seeing all the dust and clutter. The dust was always there. You just couldn't see it. Don't let this discourage you. This awareness is the first step. You can't change what you can't see. So seeing it, even when it's uncomfortable, is progress. Celebrate that you're finally looking. That takes courage. Week 2 is about clearing. Now that you've identified your patterns, it's time to release them. Every morning, spend 15 minutes doing somatic release work. This could be shaking your body vigorously for 5 minutes to release stored tension. This could be emotional freedom technique tapping while saying your money wounds out loud. This could be breath work, specifically breath of fire or holotropic breathing to move stuck energy. This could be journaling until your hand cramps, getting every fear and limiting belief out of your system and onto paper. The key is that you're releasing through your body. not just your mind, because these patterns live in your nervous system. They're stored in your tissues, and you have to move them physically to clear them energetically. During week 2, you might feel emotional. You might cry for no apparent reason. You might feel angry or sad or grief. This is old energy moving through and out. Let it. Don't suppress it. Don't judge it. Don't make it mean something about your progress. It's just energy that's been stuck for years, finally getting permission to leave. Create space for this. Maybe you need to take a day off. Maybe you need to move your body more. Maybe you need to be in nature. Honor what your system needs as it releases decades of conditioning. Here's a specific practice for week 2. Write a letter to money. Yes, really. Dear money. And then let everything pour out. Tell money how you feel about it. The resentment, the fear, the need, the confusion. Tell money what you wish was different, what you've believed about it, how it's hurt you or disappointed you or eluded you. Don't hold back. This isn't rational. This is emotional purging. Write until there's nothing left. Then burn the letter. Literally. Safely burn it and watch the smoke carry those old beliefs away. Then write a second letter. This time, let money write back to you. I know this sounds strange, but do it anyway. Let money tell you what it wants you to know. Let it apologize or explain or teach you. You'll be surprised what comes through when you let your intuition speak. Week 3 is when you start building new patterns. Now that you've cleared some space, you're going to fill it with new beliefs and practices. Every morning, you do a 5-minute visualization. Close your eyes and see yourself living your wealthy life. But don't just see it, feel it. What does it feel like in your body to have financial freedom? What does it feel like to check your bank account and see abundance? What does it feel like to say yes to opportunities without calculating cost? Really embody this feeling. Let it fill your cells. This isn't fantasy. This is frequency programming. You're teaching your nervous system what wealth feels like, so it can recognize and create more of it. During week 3, you implement one new behavior per day. Monday, you practice receiving every compliment without deflection. Tuesday, you pay every bill with gratitude instead of resentment. Wednesday, you make one purchase that your wealthy self would make. Thursday, you have one money conversation without apologizing or diminishing. Friday, you raise your rates or prices on something, even if just by 10%. Saturday, you give something away strategically to break scarcity grip. Sunday, you rest completely without guilt or productivity. These aren't huge actions. They're micro shifts that compound. Each one is retraining your nervous system. Each one is broadcasting a new frequency. You might notice during week 3 that opportunities start appearing. They'll be small at first. Maybe someone asks about your services. Maybe you get an unexpected refund. Maybe a friend mentions a job opening. Pay attention. This is the universe responding to your new frequency. And here's what's critical. Say yes, even if it scares you, even if you don't feel ready, even if your old pattern is to decline or minimize. Say yes. This is how you prove to yourself and to the universe that you're serious about this shift. Every yes builds momentum. Every yes strengthens your new neural pathways. Every yes expands your capacity for receiving. Week 4 is about integration and adjustment. You've been practicing for 3 weeks now. Some things are feeling more natural. Some things are still uncomfortable. This week, you assess what's working and what needs adjustment. Maybe the morning practice needs to be shorter because you're not sustaining it. That's fine. 5 minutes of consistent practice is better than 15 minutes that you skip. Maybe you need more support. Maybe you need an accountability partner or a community of people doing this work. Maybe you need to be more protective of your environment. Maybe you need to limit time with certain people or unfollow certain accounts that trigger scarcity. Make these adjustments without judgment. You're customizing this practice to fit your life and your nervous system. There's no perfect way. There's only your way. During week 4, introduce a weekly money date. This is an hour every week, same day and time, where you sit down with your finances. You look at what came in, what went out. You update your tracking. You plan for the coming week, but you do it from your new frequency. not with dread or avoidance, with curiosity and empowerment. You're becoming someone who is intimate with their money, who knows where every dollar is and where it's going, who makes conscious choices instead of unconscious reactions. This practice alone will change your financial reality because you're bringing awareness and intention to what was previously chaotic and fear-based. Let me tell you about Jennifer. She's a therapist who was terrified of looking at her money. She'd avoid her bank account for weeks. She'd let bills pile up unopened. She was making good money, but she had no idea where it went. When we introduced the weekly money date, she resisted hard. Her nervous system associated looking at money with danger and shame, but she committed anyway. "The first few money dates," she cried. Just sitting with her finances brought up so much fear and grief. But she kept showing up, and by week 8 something shifted. She realized she actually had more than she thought, that the fear was worse than the reality. That knowing was empowering instead of scary. Within 3 months, she'd saved $5,000, paid off a credit card, and started investing. Not because she made more money, because she faced her money instead of avoiding it. Now we're moving into weeks 5 through 8. This is the integration phase. This is where the magic starts to compound, but also where the resistance gets louder. Your nervous system is fighting hard to pull you back to familiar patterns. You might sabotage. You might create drama. You might suddenly have emergencies or distractions. This is not coincidence. This is your system trying to protect you from change. Expect it. When it happens, don't judge yourself. Just notice. Oh, there's my upper limit. There's my self-sabotage pattern. Hello, I see you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. But I'm choosing expansion anyway. During these weeks, you're going to deepen every practice you've established. Your morning frequency work gets more specific. Instead of general abundance visualization, you visualize specific financial goals. You see the exact number in your bank account. Week 6. Your challenge is to release one major scarcity symbol from your life. This could be a possession you're keeping out of fear, the clothes that don't fit that you're saving in case you gain weight, the broken appliances you're keeping in case you can't afford new ones, the cheap versions of things when you could afford better. Choose one thing and release it. Donate it, sell it, or throw it away. This creates energetic space for something new. And it signals to the universe that you're no longer operating from a scarcity frequency. You're making room for abundance. Week 7. Your challenge is to make one significant investment in yourself. This should be an amount that feels like a stretch, but not irresponsible. Maybe it's a course you've been wanting to take. Maybe it's a coach or mentor. Maybe it's updating your website or getting professional photos. Maybe it's buying quality tools for your work. Whatever it is, it should make your nervous system nervous. That nervousness means you're at your edge. That's where growth happens. Make the investment. Notice what comes up. Fear, guilt, excitement, terror. Breathe through it. You're proving to yourself that you're worth investing in, that you believe in your future, that you're serious about this transformation. Week 8. Your challenge is to give something substantial away. Not out of obligation, not out of guilt, but from genuine overflow and gratitude. This could be money to a cause you believe in. This could be your expertise given freely to someone who can't afford it. This could be something you own that someone else needs more. The key is that it should feel slightly scary. You should wonder if you can afford it. That edge means you're breaking the scarcity grip. You're affirming that there's more than enough. That giving doesn't deplete you. That circulation creates more flow. After you give, pay attention to what comes back within the next week. I promise something will. Maybe not in the form you expect, but the universe always responds to generous action. Now let's talk about what happens around week 6 or 7 for most people. This is when the breakthrough often comes. But before the breakthrough, there's usually a breakdown. Everything feels like it's falling apart. Doubt creeps in. Maybe you have an unexpected expense. Maybe a client delays payment. Maybe someone challenges your new rates. Maybe a relationship conflict surfaces. This is not evidence that the process isn't working. This is evidence that it is working. Old structures have to collapse before new ones can build. Your old identity has to dissolve before your new identity can emerge. If you're in this breakdown phase right now, let me tell you what you need to hear. Keep going. This is not failure. This is labor. You're birthing a new version of yourself, and birth is messy and painful and beautiful. The breakdown is the breakthrough trying to emerge. Don't quit 3 feet from gold. Let me tell you about Rachel. She's a yoga teacher who did this work. By week 6, she was ready to quit. Her car broke down. Her laptop died. Her rent was increasing. She called me crying, saying the universe was punishing her for trying to change. I told her what I'm telling you. The universe wasn't punishing her. It was clearing out the old structures that couldn't come with her to the new level. Her car breaking down forced her to accept help from community. Her laptop dying forced her to upgrade to equipment that matched her new frequency. Her rent increasing forced her to finally raise her class prices, which she'd been avoiding. Within 2 weeks, she'd tripled her teaching income. But she had to go through the breakdown to get to the breakthrough. And you might too. Weeks 9 through 12 are about expansion and evidence. By now you should be seeing tangible results, not just internal shifts, but external changes. More money coming in, better opportunities appearing, easier access to resources. If you're not seeing these results yet, it means you're still holding somewhere. There's still a pattern running that you haven't identified. Go back to the awareness practice. Where are you still contracting? Where are you still apologizing? Where are you still playing small? Where are you still giving your power away? Find it, feel it, release it, then watch what shifts. During week 9, your practice is evidence documentation. Every single day, you write down every piece of evidence that your frequency has shifted. Someone paid you on time. Someone referred you. Someone complimented your work. You felt calm during a money conversation. You made a decision from abundance instead of fear. You said no to something that didn't align. Every single piece of evidence matters, because your brain needs proof that this new way works. And the more evidence you collect, the more your brain trusts the new pattern. This creates a positive feedback loop. Evidence leads to trust. Trust leads to more aligned action. Aligned action creates more evidence. Week 10 is about celebrating wins. Most people skip this step, and it's a huge mistake. Your nervous system needs to anchor the new pattern with pleasure and celebration. Otherwise, success just becomes another thing on your to-do list, another achievement that doesn't actually satisfy. So this week, every time something good happens financially, you celebrate. And I mean really celebrate. You dance, you call a friend, you treat yourself to something special. You take a moment to feel the joy and the pride and the gratitude. This tells your nervous system, we want more of this. This is good. This is safe. Keep creating this. Celebration is not frivolous. It's neurological programming. Week 11 is about teaching what you've learned. This might seem premature. You might think you're not qualified yet, but that's your old worthiness wound talking. You don't have to be an expert to share what's working for you. Tell a friend about the practices. Post about your journey on social media. Offer to support someone else who's struggling with money. When you teach, you embody. When you share, you integrate more deeply. And when you help someone else shift, you strengthen your own transformation. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being in the process and bringing others along. Week 12 is about designing your sustainability plan. Because transformation isn't a destination, it's a lifelong practice. You've spent 12 weeks intensively shifting your frequency. Now you need to create a maintenance plan. What practices are non-negotiable? What daily habits keep you in your new frequency? What weekly rituals support your continued growth? What monthly check-ins ensure you don't slip back? Design this intentionally. Write it down. Commit to it. Because the work doesn't end at 90 days. It deepens. It becomes part of who you are. It becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. Now let's talk about relapse prevention, because this is critical. You will have moments where you slip back into old patterns. You'll catch yourself undercharging. You'll notice yourself deflecting a compliment. You'll feel the old fear creeping back in. This doesn't mean you've failed. This means you're human. The difference now is that you have awareness. You can catch yourself. You can choose differently. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is conscious course correction. When you notice the old pattern, you pause. You breathe. You remind yourself of your new identity. You choose the new response. And each time you do this, you strengthen the new neural pathway. Here are the warning signs that you're slipping back. You start avoiding your money again. You stop doing your morning practice. You start spending time with people who drain you. You stop celebrating wins. You start making decisions from fear instead of intuition. You start apologizing for your worth. If you notice any of these signs, it's time for a reset. Go back to basics. Reconnect with your why. Remember what this transformation is for, who it's for, what's possible on the other side. Do a clearing practice. Release whatever fear or doubt has crept back in, and then recommit. Not with shame, with compassion. You're rewiring decades of conditioning. Of course, you'll have moments of regression. Be gentle with yourself and keep going. Let me give you a specific script for when you're in doubt, when you're questioning whether this works, when you're tempted to go back to old patterns. Say this to yourself. I am in the process of becoming someone who creates wealth with ease. This discomfort is temporary. It's my nervous system adjusting to a new normal. I've already come so far. I've already seen evidence of change. I choose to trust the process. I choose to stay committed to my transformation. I am worthy of wealth. I am capable of receiving. I am safe expanding. This is happening. I am becoming. Say this as many times as you need to. Let it anchor you. Let it remind you of what's true, even when your old programming is screaming the opposite. Now I want to address the biggest obstacle that stops most people. The belief that they have to do this alone. That asking for help means they're weak or failing. This is nonsense. Every successful person had support. Every wealthy person had mentors and community. You cannot transform in isolation. You need people who see your potential even when you can't see it yourself. You need people who call you forward when you want to quit. You need people who celebrate your wins and normalize your struggles. If you don't have these people in your life yet, find them. Join a mastermind. Hire a coach. Find an online community. Invest in relationships with people who are committed to growth. This is not optional. This is essential. Let me tell you about a practice I call the frequency audit. Once a month, you assess your energetic state across 7 domains: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, relational, environmental, and financial. For each domain, you rate yourself 1 through 10. 1 means contracted, fearful, depleted. 10 means expanded, joyful, overflowing. Then you look at the patterns. Where are you consistently low? That's where you need to direct energy and attention. Where are you consistently high? That's what's working. Keep doing that. This audit gives you objective data about your frequency. It helps you catch slipping before it becomes a full regression. It helps you celebrate progress you might not notice otherwise. And it helps you make strategic adjustments to stay in your highest frequency. Here's what the audit looks like practically. Physical frequency. How's your energy? Are you resting enough? Moving your body? Nourishing yourself well? Or are you depleted, sedentary, eating out of stress? Emotional frequency. How do you feel most of the time? Joyful and peaceful? Or anxious and heavy? What emotions are you avoiding or suppressing? Mental frequency. What are your dominant thoughts? Abundant and possibility focused? Or scarce and problem focused? Are you consuming content that expands you or contracts you? Spiritual frequency. Do you feel connected to something larger? Do you trust the process? Or do you feel alone and like you have to control everything? Relational frequency. Are your relationships nourishing? Do people energize you or drain you? Are you surrounding yourself with people who match your new frequency? Environmental frequency. Does your space feel abundant or chaotic and scarce? Are you in environments that support your growth? Financial frequency. How do you feel about money? Calm and expectant or fearful and contracted? Are you taking aligned action or avoiding and procrastinating? When you do this audit, you'll see clearly where your frequency is strong and where it needs support. Maybe your financial frequency is high, but your physical frequency is low because you're not resting. That will eventually affect your ability to receive wealth because your system is depleted. Maybe your relational frequency is low, because you're still spending time with people who operate from scarcity. That's pulling your financial frequency down even if everything else is strong. Maybe your environmental frequency is low because your home is still full of poverty cues. Clean that up and watch your financial frequency rise. Everything is connected. You can't have abundance in one area while tolerating scarcity in others. You have to align every domain with your wealth frequency, and the audit shows you exactly where to focus. Now let's talk about the identity shifts that have to happen for lasting transformation. You can practice all the techniques, you can do all the exercises, but if your core identity hasn't shifted, you'll eventually snap back to old patterns, because your actions are always consistent with who you believe you are. If you believe you're someone who struggles with money, you'll find ways to struggle even when opportunity is right in front of you. If you believe you're someone who's bad with money, you'll make decisions that confirm that belief. If you believe you're someone who doesn't deserve wealth, you'll unconsciously reject it when it comes. So the real work is identity work, becoming someone different at the core level. Here's how you know your identity has shifted. It's not when you think differently. It's when you automatically act differently without having to think about it. When someone asks your rate and you state it confidently without hesitation. When money comes in and you feel calm instead of shocked. When opportunities appear and you say yes without spiraling into doubt. When you make decisions based on alignment instead of affordability. When you invest in yourself without guilt. When you give generously without fear. When you rest without productivity guilt. These automatic responses tell you that the new identity has integrated, that you're not pretending anymore. You've actually become someone new. The bridge between old identity and new identity is practice, repetition. You act as if you're already the person until you actually become the person. This feels fake at first. You feel like an imposter, like you're playing dress up. That's normal. That's the gap between who you were and who you're becoming. Stay in the gap. Keep acting as if. Keep making the choices your future self would make. Keep speaking the way your wealthy self would speak. Keep moving through the world the way someone who has already arrived would move. And one day, you'll realize it's not an act anymore. It's just who you are. The gap has closed. The identity has shifted. You've become the person you were pretending to be. Let me give you a powerful practice for accelerating this identity shift. It's called the alter ego technique. You create a version of yourself who already has everything you're working toward. You give them a name. You describe how they dress, how they speak, how they make decisions. You write out their daily routine, their beliefs, their values, their boundaries. You make this alter ego as specific and real as possible, and then you channel them. When you're facing a decision, you ask, what would my alter ego do? When you're in a challenging situation, you embody your alter ego. You literally step into their energy and act from that place. This isn't about being fake. It's about accessing the part of you that already knows how to be wealthy. Because that part exists. It's already there. You're just giving yourself permission to embody it. I had a client named Tom who used this technique brilliantly. He created an alter ego named Thomas. Tom was the version who undercharged and played small. Thomas was the version who commanded premium rates and took up space. Whenever Tom had to have a pricing conversation or make a big decision, he'd take a moment to become Thomas. He'd adjust his posture. He'd slow down his speech. He'd feel into the confidence and certainty that Thomas embodied. And from that place, he'd take action. Within months, the line between Tom and Thomas blurred. He didn't need to consciously switch anymore. He had become Thomas. His income tripled. His confidence soared. And he told me, I didn't change who I was. I just accessed the version of me that was always there. Now we're in the final phase of your transformation. Weeks 13 and beyond, this is where you step into mastery. Where wealth becomes your new normal. Where abundance is no longer something you're trying to create, but something you're simply experiencing. This phase is about maintenance and deepening. You've built the foundation. Now you're building the structure. You're expanding your capacity. You're playing at new levels. You're setting bigger goals. You're taking bigger risks. You're creating bigger impact. And you're doing it all from a grounded, embodied place of knowing that you're someone who creates wealth. During this phase, your morning practice might evolve. Maybe you're no longer visualizing basic abundance. Maybe you're visualizing the $1 million year, the dream home, the thriving business, the impact you want to create in the world. Your goals have expanded because your capacity has expanded. And that's exactly how it should work. You don't start by trying to manifest $1 million when you can barely pay rent. You start where you are and you expand incrementally. Each level of success builds your nervous system's capacity to hold more. Each win proves to you that you're capable. Each breakthrough expands your sense of what's possible. So now, from this new baseline, you set new targets. And you apply the same principles. Frequency first, action second, results inevitable. Your evidence journal continues, but it evolves too. Now you're tracking not just that money came in, but how it felt. Did you receive it with ease? Did you celebrate it? Did you circulate it consciously? Are you managing it as a steward or as someone who's afraid it will disappear? Are you making decisions from your wealthy self, or is your old self still occasionally taking over? This level of nuance helps you identify the subtle patterns that might limit your next expansion. Because even after transformation, there are layers. There are always deeper levels of worthiness to claim, always more capacity to build, always new edges to explore. Wealth work is never finished. It just keeps deepening. Let me tell you about the phenomenon I call the new normal trap. This is when you achieve a level of wealth, and your nervous system adjusts to it so completely that you forget it was ever different. Suddenly, what felt like abundance becomes your baseline, and you stop feeling grateful. You stop celebrating. You stop acknowledging how far you've come. This is dangerous because gratitude is what maintains the frequency. Without gratitude, you slip into entitlement. And entitlement is just another form of scarcity. It's the belief that you deserve more without appreciating what you have. This repels further abundance. So you have to consciously practice gratitude even when abundance becomes normal, especially when abundance becomes normal. Here's a practice that prevents the new normal trap. Once a week, you look back at where you were a year ago. What was your financial situation? How did you feel about money? What were your daily struggles? Really connect with that past version of yourself. Feel compassion for them. Appreciate how hard they were trying. And then acknowledge how far you've come. Look at the evidence of your growth, the increased income, the expanded capacity, the shifted beliefs, the new behaviors. Let yourself feel proud. Let yourself feel grateful. Let yourself feel amazed that you actually did this. Problem 2. Money comes in but immediately goes out. You can't seem to hold on to it. This is an upper limit problem combined with a stewardship problem. Your nervous system isn't safe having money yet, and you haven't developed the skill of conscious money management. The solution is twofold. First, work on your upper limit. Sit with having money in your account. Don't immediately spend it to relieve the discomfort. Let yourself feel what it's like to have a cushion, to have savings, to have options. This will be uncomfortable. Do it anyway. Second, learn basic money management. Create a simple system for where money goes when it comes in. Percentage to savings, percentage to bills, percentage to investments, percentage to pleasure, percentage to giving. When you have a system, money doesn't just disappear. You direct it consciously, and that conscious direction is part of your wealth frequency. Problem 3. You raised your rates, and now you have no clients. This is a transition period, and it's terrifying but necessary. Your old clients at old rates weren't sustainable. You were bleeding energy and resentment. Your new rates match your value, but they require new clients who can afford them. This gap period is where most people panic and lower their rates again. Don't. Hold steady. Use this time to up-level everything. Your marketing, your positioning, your energy, your environment, your network. You're calling in a different caliber of client now. One who values quality and is willing to pay for transformation. They're out there, but you have to hold the frequency long enough for them to find you. Trust the gap. It's temporary, and what's on the other side is so much better than what you left behind. Problem 4. You keep self-sabotaging right when things start going well. You get sick. You create drama. You make bad decisions. This is your upper limit in action, and it requires deep nervous system work. Your system believes that success isn't safe, that being visible is dangerous, that having more means losing more. You need to find the origin of this belief. Usually it comes from childhood. Maybe you watch someone in your family succeed and then lose everything. Maybe you succeeded at something and then were criticized or attacked for it. Maybe you learned that playing small keeps you safe from judgment or rejection. Whatever the origin, you have to find it, feel it, and release it. And then you have to slowly expand your capacity for success. Celebrate small wins. Let yourself be seen in small ways. Build your tolerance for visibility and success incrementally. You're literally retraining your nervous system to believe that success is safe. Let me tell you about Karen. She was a life coach who kept sabotaging her business right when it started to take off. She'd book a full client roster and then get the flu. She'd create a successful program and then have a family emergency that required all her attention. She'd land a speaking gig and then have a panic attack the day before. We traced it back to age 12. She won a state competition for writing, and her mother, who was jealous and insecure, told her she was getting too big for her britches and no one likes a show-off. That moment imprinted deeply. Success equals rejection from the person she needed love from most. So her system learned that success is dangerous. It took months of nervous system work to release that belief. But once she did, once she proved to herself that she could be successful and still be loved, everything changed. She built a multiple six-figure business. She spoke on stages. She became visible, and she stayed healthy and grounded through all of it because her system finally believed that success was safe. Now, let's talk about the advanced practices for when you've mastered the basics. Once your daily frequency work is automatic, once receiving feels natural, once you're managing money consciously, you're ready for the next level. This is where you start working with larger amounts of energy. Bigger goals, bigger visions, bigger impact. The principles are the same, but the stakes are higher. Your nervous system capacity needs to expand to hold more. Your identity needs to evolve to match the next level. Your actions need to become bolder and more aligned. Advanced practice. One is working with specific numbers. Instead of visualizing general abundance, you get precise. You see the exact amount in your account. You feel what it's like to have $100,000 saved, or to make $50,000 a month, or to sell your business for $2 million. The more specific the number, the clearer the signal. Your subconscious needs a target. General abundance is vague. Specific numbers give your system something concrete to work toward. Now here's the key. The number needs to excite you and scare you in equal measure. If it only excites you, it's too small. If it only scares you, it's too big. You want that sweet spot where you think, yes, I want that, and also, oh God, can I actually do that? That's your growth edge. Advanced practice 2 is tithing at a higher level. When you first start giving strategically, you might give $10 or $20. That's perfect for building the muscle. But as your income grows, your giving should grow proportionally. This keeps you in circulation frequency. It prevents hoarding. It proves to your system that there's always more. I tithe 10% of my gross income every month. And let me tell you, the months I forget or skip, my income drops. The months I give generously, money floods in. It's not karma, it's energetics. Giving creates space for receiving. It broadcasts the frequency of abundance. It tells the universe, I have so much that I can give it away. And the universe says, oh, you have abundance. Here's more abundance. Advanced practice 3 is investing in assets, not just expenses. At the beginning of your transformation, you're learning to manage cash flow, to stop the leaks, to spend consciously. But once you have surplus, you need to learn to invest, to put your money to work for you. This could be financial investments like stocks or real estate. This could be business investments like team members or systems. This could be personal investments like high-level masterminds or mentorship. The key is that you're not just spending to maintain. You're investing to multiply. This is how wealth compounds. And it requires a different mindset. You're not asking, can I afford this? You're asking, what will this return? What will this create? How will this multiply? Advanced Practice 4 is receiving at a higher frequency. When you first learn to receive, you're practicing with compliments in small amounts. But as you expand, you need to practice receiving bigger things. Receiving 5-figure contracts without flinching. Receiving opportunities that feel too good to be true. Receiving recognition and visibility. Receiving help from high-level people. Receiving love and support that feels almost overwhelming. Your capacity to receive determines how much can come to you. If you can only receive small, you'll only get small. You have to expand your receiving capacity to match your desires. And this is done through exposure. You put yourself in situations where bigger receiving is required. You say yes to the speaking gig even though it terrifies you. You pitch the high-ticket offer even though you're shaking. You let someone gift you something expensive without guilt. Each time you receive beyond your previous capacity, you expand, and the next level of receiving becomes possible. Let me give you a very specific 30-day challenge for advanced practitioners. Day 1 through 7, you're going to practice receiving something every single day without deflecting, explaining, or reciprocating. Could be a compliment. Could be someone buying your coffee. Could be a client paying your invoice. Just receive it fully. Feel it land in your body. Say thank you. Nothing more. Day 8 through 14. You're going to give something away every day. It doesn't have to be money. Could be your time, your expertise, a possession, an opportunity you pass to someone else. Give from genuine overflow, not obligation. Notice how it feels to be someone who has so much they can give freely. Day 15 through 21. You're going to make one uncomfortable money decision per day. Ask for the raise, pitch the higher rate. Invest in the thing that scares you. Have the boundary conversation. Whatever feels like your edge, do that. Day 22 through 30, you're going to celebrate every single win, no matter how small. Money came in? Dance. Someone complimented your work? Tell a friend. You made a decision from abundance? Write it down and acknowledge yourself. You're training your nervous system that wealth is safe, joyful, and worth celebrating. Now I want to talk about what happens when you become the wealthy one in your family or friend group. This is a level of success that brings its own challenges. Suddenly, people are asking you for money, or judging your choices, or making comments about how you've changed. This is one of the loneliest parts of wealth creation. You wanted this, you worked for this, and now that you have it, it feels complicated. People you love resent you, or expect things from you, or treat you differently. This is where strong boundaries become essential. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your wealth. You don't owe anyone access to your money. You get to decide how you share, with whom and when. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to protect what you've built. It's okay to let people be uncomfortable with your success. That's their work, not yours. Here's a script for when someone asks you for money or makes a comment about your wealth. I appreciate you thinking of me. I'm really intentional about how I allocate my resources, and this isn't something I'm able to support. Think about what you're creating for the next generation, not just financially, but energetically. What do you want them to believe about money? That it's hard and scarce, or that it flows easily when you're aligned? What do you want them to believe about their worthiness? That they have to prove it through suffering, or that they're inherently valuable? What do you want them to believe about wealth? That rich people are bad, or that wealth is a tool for creating good in the world? You get to decide this through how you relate to money, through how you talk about it, through how you embody it. You're setting the template. Make it a good one. Now let's talk about sustainable wealth versus hustle wealth. A lot of people create wealth through grinding and hustling and sacrificing everything, and then they burn out. They make money, but they destroy their health, their relationships, their joy. That's not sustainable. That's not the model we're building here. We're building wealth that comes from alignment, from overflow, from operating in your zone of genius, from working smarter, not harder, from creating systems and leverage, from receiving support, from resting deeply. This is how you build wealth that lasts. Wealth that doesn't require you to sacrifice yourself. Wealth that actually enhances your life instead of consuming it. Here's what sustainable wealth looks like practically. You work fewer hours than you used to, but make more money. You have support, team members, systems, automation. You say no to anything that doesn't align with your genius or your values. You rest regularly without guilt. You prioritize your health and relationships. You give generously. You invest wisely. You enjoy your money instead of just accumulating it. You feel calm and spacious instead of stressed and rushed. This is the goal. This is what we're working toward. Not just more money, but a better life. More freedom, more joy, more impact, more presence, more peace. Let me tell you about Michelle. She built a 7-figure business by working 80-hour weeks for 5 years. She made a lot of money, and she was miserable. She had no life outside of work. Her marriage was suffering. Her health was declining. She couldn't remember the last time she felt joy. When we started working together, she was burned out and resentful. We rebuilt her business from a completely different frequency, from overflow instead of depletion, from alignment instead of force. She cut her hours in half. She raised her rates. She hired support. She created systems. She said no to most opportunities, and her income stayed exactly the same while her life quality increased exponentially. She fell back in love with her work. She reconnected with her husband. She started sleeping again. She remembered what joy felt like. That's sustainable wealth. That's what we're creating. Now I'm going to give you something very practical. A day-by-day breakdown of micro practices for the next 30 days. These are tiny actions that take 5 minutes or less, but compound into massive transformation. Day 1, check your bank account without emotional reaction. Just look, notice what comes up. Breathe through it. Day 2, pay 1 bill with gratitude. Thank the service provider. Appreciate what that money bought you. Day 3, receive 1 compliment without deflecting. Let it land. Say thank you. Nothing else. Day 4, give something away that you've been hoarding. Release the grip. Day 5, visualize 1 specific financial goal for 5 minutes. See it, feel it, embody it. Day 6, wear something that makes you feel wealthy. Notice how it shifts your energy. Day 7, rest for 30 minutes without doing anything productive. Practice overflow. Day 8, have 1 money conversation where you don't apologize for your worth. State your value clearly. Day 9, write down 3 pieces of evidence that abundance is real. Train your brain to notice it. Day 10, make 1 purchase that your wealthy self would make. Close the embodiment gap. Day 11, clear 1 area of your home completely. Create space for wealth to enter. Day 12, unfollow 3 accounts that trigger scarcity or comparison. Protect your frequency. Day 13, reach out to 1 person who operates at the level you're stepping into. Expand your network. Day 14, celebrate 1 win out loud. Tell someone, let yourself be proud. Day 15, raise your rate or price on something by at least 10%. Feel the discomfort and do it anyway. Day 16, invest in yourself in some way. Course, book, tool, experience, prove your worth investing in. Day 17, say no to something that doesn't align. Practice boundaries. Day 18, sit with having money in your account without spending it. Build your capacity to hold wealth. Day 19, give money to a cause you believe in. Practice circulation from overflow. Day 20, write a letter to your future wealthy self. Ask for guidance. Day 21, do nothing for 1 hour. Just be. Let ideas come through the spaciousness. Day 22, forgive yourself for 1 past money mistake. Release the shame. Day 23, thank your body for holding you through this transformation. Place your hands on your heart and say, thank you. Day 24, make 1 decision based on alignment instead of affordability. What feels right, not what's cheap. Day 25, clean out your wallet. Organize your bills. Remove old receipts. Show respect for money. Day 26, speak about money differently all day. Catch scarcity language and replace it with abundance language. Day 27, visualize yourself receiving a specific amount of money. See the deposit. Feel the calm. Day 28, dance to a song that makes you feel abundant. Move the energy through your body. Day 29, write down everything you're grateful for financially, no matter how small. Build appreciation. Day 30, commit to the next 90 days. Make the decision that this transformation is not optional. It's who you're becoming. These micro practices might seem simple, too simple to matter, but this is how you rewire a nervous system. Not through huge dramatic actions, but through consistent, small, intentional choices. Each micro practice is a vote for your new identity. Each one broadcasts a new frequency. Each one builds evidence that you're becoming someone different. And when you stack 30 days of these practices, you've created undeniable momentum. You've proven to yourself that you can show up, that you can change, that you're serious about this transformation. And from that foundation, The next 30 days become easier. And the next, until one day you realize you're not trying anymore. You've actually become the person you set out to become. Now let's talk about money mindfulness, which is different from money management. Money mindfulness is about being present with your financial reality, not avoiding it, not obsessing over it, just being with it, checking your account regularly without emotional reactivity, looking at your numbers without shame or fear, making decisions from a grounded place instead of panic. This is a practice. Most people are either completely avoidant or completely obsessive with money. Neither is healthy. Avoidance creates blind spots and emergencies. Obsession creates anxiety and control issues. Mindfulness creates clarity and empowerment. Here's what money mindfulness looks like. Once a day, you check your bank account, not 20 times, not never. Once, you look at what came in, what went out. You notice if there are any surprises. You make sure everything is as it should be. And then, you close the app and go about your day. You don't spiral into worst-case scenarios. You don't compare yourself to others. You don't feel shame for where you are. You just notice. This is my current reality. I'm taking care of it. I'm moving in the direction I want to go. That's it. This removes the charge from money. It's just information, just data. Not a reflection of your worth, not a prediction of your future. Just what is right now. Another aspect of money mindfulness is conscious spending. Before you buy anything, you pause. You ask yourself 3 questions. Do I actually want this? Or am I trying to fill a void? Does this align with my values and my goals? Can I afford this from overflow, or would this create stress? These 3 questions prevent impulse purchases that you regret. They prevent you from using spending as an emotional coping mechanism. They ensure that every dollar you spend is intentional. And intentional spending is part of your wealth frequency. Wealthy people don't waste money on things that don't matter. They invest money in things that align with their values and enhance their lives. You're learning to do the same. Let me tell you about Amanda. She was a chronic emotional spender. Whenever she felt bad, she bought things online. Clothes she never wore, gadgets she never used, stuff she didn't need. And then when the packages arrived, she felt worse. Guilty, ashamed, out of control. When we introduced the 3-question pause, everything changed. She'd feel the urge to buy. She'd go to the website. She'd add things to cart. And then she'd pause. She'd ask the 3 questions. And 90% of the time, the answer was no. She didn't actually want it. It didn't align with her goals. It would create stress. So she'd close the browser, and she'd feel proud instead of guilty. Within 6 months, she'd saved $4,000 just by stopping the emotional spending. But more importantly, she felt in control. She felt empowered. She felt like someone who makes good financial decisions. And that identity shift attracted more money in. We need to talk about the relationship between your physical health and your financial health, because they're more connected than you think. When your body is depleted, stressed, and inflamed, you're nervous. Let me give you a specific assignment. Choose one room in your home, ideally the room where you spend the most time. You're going to transform it into a wealth sanctuary. First, clear everything out. Empty the room completely. Then deep clean it. Walls, floors, windows, everything. You're clearing the old energy, creating a blank slate. Now intentionally bring back only what belongs. Only what makes you feel wealthy. Only what supports your new identity. Maybe it's a desk that feels professional and abundant. Maybe it's a chair that's comfortable and beautiful. Maybe it's plants that bring life. Maybe it's art that inspires you. Maybe it's simply space. Emptiness that feels luxurious. Whatever you bring in, it should pass the test. Does this make me feel like a wealthy person? If no, it doesn't come back in. When this room is complete, spend time in it daily. Let your nervous system absorb the frequency. Let yourself become accustomed to being in a space that reflects abundance. This recalibrates your baseline. This becomes your new normal. Now we need to address one of the biggest blocks to wealth that nobody talks about. The fear of being seen. Most people say they want wealth, but wealth requires visibility. It requires putting yourself out there, promoting your work, charging what you're worth, being willing to be judged, being willing to take up space. And for so many people, especially women, especially those with trauma, visibility feels dangerous. Being seen equals being attacked, so they unconsciously stay small and hidden to stay safe. And staying small and hidden means staying broke. If this is you, if visibility terrifies you, we need to address this directly. Because you cannot create significant wealth while hiding. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be on social media if that doesn't align with you. But you do have to be willing to be known for what you do. You have to be willing to let people see your work, to share your value, to claim your space. And that requires healing your relationship with visibility. This usually means working with the part of you that learned being seen is dangerous. The part that was shamed or criticized or attacked. The part that decided the safest thing was to disappear. That part needs compassion, needs to know that you're safe now, that you can protect yourself now. That being seen as an adult is different than being seen as a child. And you can build your visibility tolerance slowly. You don't have to go from hiding to worldwide fame. You can take baby steps. Share your work with one person, then 5, then 50, each time proving to your system that visibility doesn't equal annihilation. Building your capacity incrementally until being seen feels normal instead of terrifying. Let me tell you about Jasmine. She was an incredibly talented artist, but nobody knew it because she never showed her work. She kept everything in her studio, hidden, safe. She wanted to sell her art, but she couldn't bring herself to post online or submit to galleries. The thought of people looking at her work made her physically ill. We traced it back to childhood. Her father was hypercritical. Every time she brought home a drawing or painting, he'd tear it apart, point out flaws, make her feel like nothing she created was good enough. So she learned to hide, to create in secret, to never let anyone see. As an adult, that pattern was bankrupting her. So we worked on it. She started small. She showed one piece to a trusted friend. The friend loved it. Didn't die. Then she posted one piece online with her face hidden. Got positive feedback. Didn't die. Slowly she built her tolerance. Within a year, she had an Instagram following, was selling pieces, and had been accepted into 3 galleries. But she had to face the fear first. She had to prove to her nervous system that visibility was safe. I want to give you a visibility practice. For the next 7 days, you're going to make yourself slightly more visible each day. Day 1, post something online that you've been afraid to post. Could be a thought, could be your work, could be an offer. Don't overthink it, just post. Day 2, tell someone in person about something you're working on that you usually keep private. Share your goal or your dream or your project. Let them see you. Day 3, send an email to your list or potential clients that feels vulnerable. Maybe it's sharing a personal story. Maybe it's making a bold offer. Maybe it's admitting you have something valuable to share. Day 4, comment on someone else's post with something meaningful. Let yourself be seen in community. Day 5, ask for what you want directly. A testimonial, a referral, an introduction. Practice being visible in your needs. Day 6, share a win publicly. Let people see that you're succeeding. Day 7, do something that your hidden self would never do. Wear the bold outfit. Speak up in the meeting. Take the stage. Each day, your capacity for visibility expands. And with it, your capacity for wealth. Let's talk about the money wounds that show up in romantic relationships, because this is huge. Your relationship with money impacts your relationship with your partner. And your relationship with your partner impacts your relationship with money. If you have financial trauma, if you have worthiness wounds, if you have control issues around money, all of that will show up in your intimate relationships. And until you heal it, it will create conflict and disconnection. Maybe you fight about spending. Maybe one of you is a saver and one is a spender. Maybe you have completely different values around money. Maybe you can't talk about money without it becoming a fight. All of this is frequency. All of this is healing work. Here's what healthy financial intimacy looks like. You can talk about money without it becoming emotionally charged. You're both transparent about your financial situation. You make financial decisions together as a team. You respect each other's values and find compromises that honor both people. You support each other's goals. You celebrate each other's wins. You problem solve together when challenges arise. You don't use money as a weapon or a control mechanism. You don't hide spending or lie about finances. You're united in your relationship with wealth. And when you're united, You create from a much more powerful place. Two people in aligned frequency can create far more than one person alone. If you're in a relationship where money is a source of conflict, here's what you do. First, get honest about your individual money stories. Each of you share your childhood experiences with money, your family's beliefs, your fears and wounds. This creates understanding and compassion. You realize you're not fighting about money. You're reacting from old wounds. Second, get clear on your shared values and goals. What do you both want? What matters most? Where are you aligned? Build from that foundation. Third, create a system that honors both people. Maybe one person manages the day-to-day finances. Maybe you have separate accounts for personal spending and a joint account for shared expenses. Maybe you have weekly money dates where you check in. Find a structure that works for your unique relationship. And fourth, commit to healing your individual money wounds. Because the more you each heal your relationship with money, the healthier your relationship with each other becomes. Now let's talk about wealth and parenting. Because if you have children, you're not just transforming your own relationship with money, you're establishing the foundation for theirs. Everything you do and say about money is programming them. If you speak about money with fear and stress, they absorb that frequency. If you speak about money with confidence and gratitude, they absorb that. If you hoard or overspend, they learn those patterns. If you manage money consciously and generously, they learn that. You are their first and most influential money teacher. So you have a responsibility to heal your own wounds so you don't pass them on. Here's how you create a healthy money frequency for your children. You talk about money honestly and age appropriately. You don't lie and say you can't afford something when you can but choose not to. You say, that's not how we choose to spend our money, or that's not a priority for us right now. This teaches them that money is about choices, not lack. You let them see you managing money calmly. You involve them in age-appropriate financial decisions. You teach them about saving, spending, giving and investing. You model generosity. You model gratitude. You model that money is a tool, not a source of stress or identity. And you celebrate your wins. You let them see that wealth is possible, that it's normal, that it's safe. You're breaking generational patterns. You're giving them a foundation you never had. And that's one of the most powerful forms of wealth you can create. We're moving into the final sections now, and I want to talk about what it means to live in financial overflow. Not just having enough, not just being comfortable, but having more than you need, having surplus, having options, having freedom. This is the promised land. This is what we've been working toward. And when you get here, it requires a different skill set. You're no longer managing scarcity. You're stewarding abundance. And that's a totally different paradigm. Living in overflow means you make decisions based on alignment, not affordability. You don't ask, can I afford this? You ask, does this align with my values? Will this enhance my life? Will this create the impact I want to have? When the answer is yes, you say yes. When the answer is no, you say no, regardless of whether you can afford it. You're not limited by money. You're guided by purpose and joy. Living in overflow means you're generous without even thinking about it. When someone needs help and I want you to imagine yourself 90 days from now. You've done the work. You've practiced every single day. You've faced your fears. You've cleared your wounds. You've embodied your wealthy self. You're looking at your life and it's different. Not just a little different. Radically different. Your bank account has more in it than you expected. Your opportunities have multiplied. Your confidence has soared. Your relationships have improved. Your environment reflects abundance. Your nervous system is calm. Your default state is gratitude and trust instead of fear and control. You feel free. You feel powerful. You feel like yourself for the first time in your life. That version of you is already real. They're already there waiting. And the bridge between current you and future you is everything you learned today. It's the practices. It's the commitment. It's the willingness to stay with the discomfort of transformation. It's the courage to become new. And here's what I know to be true. If you've listened this far, if you've stayed with me through this entire journey, you're ready. Something in you knows it's time. Time to stop playing small. Time to stop apologizing for wanting wealth. Time to stop carrying wounds that were never yours. Time to claim what's rightfully yours. Time to become the person you've always had the potential to be. You didn't find this audiobook by accident. You were called here by your future self, by your highest potential, by the part of you that knows you're meant for more. And now you have everything you need. The awareness, the practices, the roadmap, the permission. All that's left is your commitment, your decision that this transformation is not optional, that it's who you're becoming no matter what. So let me ask you something. Who do you want to be 90 days from now? The person who listened to this audiobook, felt inspired, and then went back to their old patterns? Or the person who listened, committed, and actually transformed their financial reality? The person who has the same struggles, the same limitations, the same stories? Or the person who broke through, who expanded, who proved that change is possible? You get to decide. Right now, in this moment, this is your inflection point. This is where one path leads to more of the same, and the other path leads to everything you've been dreaming of. Which path are you choosing? I hope you choose transformation. I hope you choose yourself. I hope you choose to believe that you're worthy of wealth, that you're capable of receiving, that you're valuable enough to charge appropriately, that you're powerful enough to change your frequency, that you're brave enough to become someone new, because you are all of those things. You always have been. You just needed to remember the currency within was always there, waiting, ready, available. You were born abundant. You were born worthy. You were born with the capacity to create wealth. Somewhere along the way, you forgot. You absorbed beliefs that told you money was hard, that you weren't enough, that wealth wasn't for people like you. But those beliefs were never true. They were just stories, and stories can be rewritten, starting right now, starting with your next breath, starting with your next thought, starting with your next choice. You are the author of your financial story, and you're about to write a completely new chapter. You began this audiobook with one money story. You're ending with a new frequency. Your next 90 days will prove everything you learned. Watch what flows in when you change what flows through. This isn't theory. This is your new operating system. Money will respond to the frequency you now hold. You are the wealthy person you've been waiting to become. It's already done energetically. Now watch the physical world catch up. Welcome to the life where money finds you, flows through you, and multiplies because of you. Welcome to the life where financial anxiety is a distant memory. Welcome to the life where you create wealth from alignment and joy. Welcome to the life where you're generous because you're overflowing. Welcome to the life where you rest deeply because you trust completely. Welcome to the life where your worth is not negotiable. Welcome to the life where your gifts are valued and compensated beautifully. Welcome to the life where wealth and integrity coexist. Welcome to the life where you're living in overflow. This is your birthright. This is your natural state. This is who you've always been, underneath the conditioning and the wounds and the limiting beliefs. And now you're coming home. Home to yourself. Home to your power. Home to your abundance. Home to the truth that you are and have always been enough. More than enough. Infinitely valuable. Worthy of every good thing. Capable of creating any reality you desire. Go create the wealth you came here to create. The world is waiting for your gifts, and you're finally ready to receive what they're worth. Your transformation starts now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when circumstances are perfect. Now. With the next decision you make, with the next thought you choose, with the next breath you take, you're already becoming. The future is already unfolding. The wealth is already on its way. All you have to do is hold the frequency, trust the process, and watch the magic unfold. I believe in you. I believe in your capacity to transform. I believe in your worthiness. I believe that you're going to look back on this moment as the day everything changed, as the day you decided to become someone new, as the day you claimed your financial freedom, as the day you stepped into your power. This is that day. This is your moment. This is your time. The currency within is awake now, active, flowing, creating, multiplying, It's been waiting for you to remember, to activate, to allow. And now you have. Now you're here. Now you're ready. Now you're becoming, and nothing will ever be the same. Your wealthy life is not ahead of you. It's available to you right now, in this moment, in this breath, in this choice, in this frequency. Welcome home. Welcome to abundance. Welcome to overflow. Welcome to wealth. Welcome to freedom. Welcome to yourself. You've arrived, and the journey is just beginning. The best is yet to come. Your most abundant chapter is unfolding. Your greatest impact is emerging. Your truest self is embodying. And it's more beautiful than you ever imagined. More powerful than you ever believed possible. More available than you ever dared to dream. This is your life now. This is your reality. This is your frequency. And from this frequency, anything is possible. Everything is available. Wealth is inevitable because you finally aligned with the truth. The currency within was always there. You just learned how to access it. And now that you know, now that you've practiced, now that you've embodied, there's no going back. Only forward, only expansion, only more wealth, more freedom, more joy, more impact, more overflow, more of everything you've been desiring. You did it. You showed up. You listened. You learned. You committed. And now you're becoming. The wealthy version of you is no longer in the future. They're here. They're now. They're you, breathing this breath, making this choice, living this moment. You are the transformation. You are the abundance. You are the wealth. Not someday, today, right now, and every moment from this moment forward. This is who you are. This is what you create. This is how you move through the world. With grace, with power, with certainty, with overflow. Go now. Go create. Go receive. Go embody. Go become. The world is waiting for the wealthy version of you. The version who knows their worth, who charges accordingly, who receives fully, who gives generously, who creates beautifully, who impacts powerfully. That version is ready. They've been ready, and now finally you're ready too. You're ready to claim it, to live it, to be it, and the universe is celebrating your arrival, welcoming you home, to abundance, to overflow, to wealth, to freedom, to yourself. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. Thank you for choosing transformation. Thank you for believing that change is possible. Thank you for having the courage to become someone new. The ripple effect of your transformation will be felt for generations. The people you inspire, the patterns you break, the legacy you create, it matters. You matter. Your wealth matters. And now you know how to create it, from the inside out, from frequency to form, from the currency within to the wealth without. I want you to imagine yourself 90 days from now. You've done the work. You've practiced every day. You've shifted your frequency. You've embodied wealth. You're looking at your bank account, and there's more there than you expected. An opportunity has appeared that you couldn't have predicted. A client has said yes at a rate you never thought you'd charge. A check has arrived that you weren't anticipating. But more than the external changes, you feel different. You feel calm about money. You feel worthy of receiving. You feel confident in your value. You feel like someone who creates wealth with ease. That version of you is already real. They're already there waiting. And the bridge between current you and future you is the practices you've learned today. You began this audiobook with one money story. You're ending with a new frequency. The currency within was always there. You just learned how to access it. Your next 90 days will prove everything you learned. Watch what flows in when you change what flows through. This isn't theory. This is your new operating system. Money will respond to the frequency you now hold. You are the wealthy person you've been waiting to become. It's already done energetically. Now watch the physical world catch up. Welcome to the life where money finds you, flows through you, and multiplies because of you. Your transformation starts now. I'll see you on the other side, where wealth is not something you chase, but something you embody. Where abundance is not something you achieve, but something you remember. Where financial freedom is not a distant dream, but your lived reality. Go create the wealth you came here to create. The world is waiting for your gifts, and you're finally ready to receive what they're worth.